Greetings, viewer. Previously, I spoke about politics, evolution, and the age of the earth, as well as the etymology of Southern Baptist. In this video, I will talk about modern non denominational evangelicalism and missions. Before I get into that, let me clarify that this point in time is 2014. Understand that when I put the modifier of modern on non denominational evangelicalism. My father was asked to step down from his position when I was 19. Sufficient to say, me and the rest of my family walked out the door with him, and we found ourselves in a non denominational church that one of the pastors would self describe to me, albeit years later, as broadly evangelical. They were disposed toward the conservative dipole of Christianity within America, but not to the same extent as the previous church. This church was also moderately charismatic. I quickly joined the music team at this church and became the main keyboard player for about 4 or 5 years. One of the key memories I have of this church is specifically when I met with the lead pastor and he explained the difference to me between Calvinism and Arminianism in a way that was somewhat neutral, and he bid me to decide for myself which made more sense to me. For what it's worth, he was likely an Arminian. And at the time, I did come to that position myself based on what understanding I had of the Bible or lack thereof, to be more transparent at that point in time, independent of whatever pastoral exhortation that he had given me or lack thereof as far as Calvinism versus Arminianism. I guess I can consider this where my journey in exploring theology had actually begun. Here is one specific thing about this church that is worth a lot of positive acclamation and a lot of positive acknowledgement. Between Christmas and New Year's, we would take mission trips to Mexico to deliver masses of cornmeal, flour, and sugar and other staples like that to a village whose economy was dependent on foreign agricultural labor. That is to say, the men of this village would go up to America to work and send the money home. And there would be times when they wouldn't have money, which means they can't get food. So we would go down there and basically fill in the gap for them. To this day, I've yet to see any church that I've ever been to understand the fundamental Christian duty of actively tending to the physical needs of those who are around them, as well as this church has done. And they get double the accolades for the fact that it was an evangelical church, because what few churches I've been to that actively understand this Christian fundamental duty at all have been more broader, more institutionalized mainline churches. But this qualifier, again, video for another day. I was also highly involved specifically with the college ministry of this church as well. At the various events and whatnot they did in a way that paralleled the youth group shenanigans of the previous church. In 2018, I go on what I describe as my mission to Madison, Wisconsin. This is with an organization called Next Step Ministries. I had what I can describe as a genuine mountaintop experience, which unlocked kind of the sort of spiritual bondage that I had on my spiritual aptitude that was unlocked when I went there. And to this day, honestly, the best 3 months I've had of my life, seriously, to this day, was the summer of 2018. And I ought to make a video unpacking this another day, but it'll be separate from this series that I'm making here. Suffice to say, this marks the second major milestone in my Christian faith and journey. This was also when I first actually read the Bible cover to cover for the first time. And this is when I really began to be serious with my faith. I did meet a man from this mission who lives about an hour away from me, which is kind of cool when you meet somebody who lives in close proximity, but when you're on the other side of the country. We would engage in music ministry for a bit, between the end of our mission and basically up until the COVID pandemic. And he was the one who got me involved in the local IHOP scene of Southern California. Side note, in more charismatic circles, IHOP means something other than a breakfast restaurant that has amazing waffles. It stands for the International House of Prayer. Again, my thoughts therein are a video for another day. In the next video, I will discuss my spiritual puberty and the COVID pandemic. Peace.